God wants you to honor people, but just because you honor them doesn't mean that they're honorable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you don't have to wait till that you feel that they deserve honor. It's the point that God says to honor them. Period.
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 You honor them, and again, treating them how you want to be treated. It didn't say treat them how they deserve to be treated, or that's not how it works. It's
Exactly.
like you still show people honor. Why would you do that though?
Again, it keeps going back to what the definition is: respect highly.
Why?
Like,
Why if they don't deserve it?
It don't say that though. It don't say.
No.
What's going on, everybody? So my name is Theodore Campbell again. This is my friend Bianca, right? So this is our second video. I hope that you liked the first video that we did. So we kind of trying this thing out on a whim. So one thing I did want to ask from everybody who watched our last video is we would appreciate if you would pretty much let us know what you think about the videos. You know, we're not asking for anything vulgar or nothing like that. But if you watch this video or you watch the previous video, we just ask that you either like it or you comment, and that would definitely let us know, you know, how you feel about what we're saying.
Mm-hmm, because we're looking for a more well-rounded perspective, and so that's the point of all of this. That's the point of us even having these conversations or doing these videos, is to get some enlightenment on, you know, the topics, because I think that each one of us can lend to one another to be better again.
Exactly. And I think we kind of want you guys to feel like you part of the show too. So if you comment, let's say Bianca says something or I say something that you agree with, or you want to chime in, you want to add to, or maybe you might even disagree with, but we're open people. We don't mind a little critique, because we're trying to grow just like you guys who watching this. So
right.
we really appreciate you do that for us.
Yeah.
So what's the topic for tonight?
So today's topic is honor versus worship. And this is a topic that you chose. And so I would love if you would enlighten the viewers exactly what issues or what you want to address with this topic.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a broad statement, because I feel like this subject goes and covers so many different fields. It's not just one area of life. I think anybody can admit you've seen honor versus worship in pretty much everything in life. The church, celebrities, materialistic things, even relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's a very fine line, even though they kind of go hand in hand, and we'll go deeper into that. But that's pretty much the gist of the topic.
Mm-hmm. Just to kind of be able to know, are we exalting people or are we honoring them? And so honor there is a difference in the two. Mm-hmm. So as far as honoring people, do you think that that's like a form of respect towards them? And I guess what position should that take? Should it take precedence over you respecting yourself, or even you and your family, or does honor take precedence over it? And then worship can kind of be overhauled, you know, and it has its place. So are we worshiping people, you know, or is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, a little bit. Like even when I said earlier, like worship can be, it don't even have to be a person. It could be a thing, you know. So I know I would start off by saying, well, if you're going to speak about honor, you got to know exactly what honor is. So I looked it up, and it says honor was pretty much, and of course this is Google, thank God for Google. It says to think highly, respect highly, or recognize the importance of. That's honor.
Respect highly and recognize the importance of. Okay.
That's honor.
What's
so,
Are we comparing and contrast? What's worship? Do you know what is the meaning?
Yeah, I looked up worship. And this is the crazy part. And again, this is Google, so Google don't know everything, but we're going to use it for today. When I looked up worship, it actually uses honor in the definition. That's the crazy part. It
So is
says,
it like an elevated definition of honor?
pretty much, it says worship was to honor and adore, and it says especially as a deity.
A God, as you would God.
Exactly. And I'm be honest, when I first read that, I didn't even know what deity was. I'm not trying to sound stupid. I'm just keeping it real. So when I looked up deity, it says, like you said, a god or goddess, divine status, the creator and supreme being. That's what deity is. So
it's only one God.
exactly. So we're pretty much, from what I'm reading there, the only difference between honor and worship is the actual
deity.
Exactly, the deity. Are you looking at it as a god? Yeah,
that's what takes honor to another level, because it's actually towards God.
Exactly, or a form of God, because you can create the God in your life. It may not be God in heaven like we know, but it's a God that you form in your life.
And just to bring it to a more real world or example or perspective, I think that we should think like how you talked about celebrities earlier, how we reverence our celebrities and put them in position. And actually, why do we do that? Why do we do that? And it's because a lot of times, we respect the discipline that they have that we don't have. We love to see, only discipline couldn't create success. So of course we love to see somebody who's disciplined and somebody who's going for it. And hey, I may be actually, I may be somewhat successful, but not, on the level of them. And so it's easy for me to look at them as some sort of deity, or it's easy for any individual to look at, people of a certain stature to be a deity, or like you don't even recognize that that's what you're doing, but that's what you're doing when you're putting them on a pedestal,
Exactly.
of even yourself, because we're all human beings, So, and we
Exactly.
all have the capability to do just what that individual done, or even what God purposes for our lives. Like we're not here to do what so and so did, but
Exactly.
it would be great if we could, instead of putting individuals on pedestals, if we could just go ahead and take upon what God purposed for us and thrive in that position as well. And then, those people wouldn't be able to be put on a pedestal.
Absolutely. Exactly. I agree. Because I mean, just like with the definition of honor it was saying think highly and recognize the importance of them. So I mean, if you think highly of a celebrity, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, let's face it, they have amazing gifts and talent. So you can think highly of what they do, but the fine line, just like we said earlier, is when worship comes in and honor becomes a door to, like you said, a deity. So you don't want them to become a god in your life.
Yeah. So what about like the car, your dream car? You got the dream car, and you just, okay, to me, because God gifted me this car, I'm going to take care of the car. So I'm going to keep it clean, and I'm going to keep the oil changed, and I'm going to keep everything up to par because I appreciate what God allowed for me to have. But when does it become like worship?
Well, if I can use myself as a guinea pig, I think there was a time in my life where I did worship my car. Like there was a time, like especially with my first car and when I was young, I was crazy about my car. Like if you got in my car, you could not eat. If you just drop one little speck of food on my floor, I'm going crazy. I would spend hours upon hours upon hours of waxing and cleaning. I ain't even going front. I kind of missed church a couple times because it was a Sunday, and that's the time I had free to get my car washed and clean it the way I want. So if you really think about it, it kind of was a form of worship. It became a God in my life.
So, especially where you're getting upset and kind of being defensive of that thing, and you could
Exactly.
even be so caught up into worshiping back to individuals. You could be so caught up into worshiping them that, if somebody says something about the person that you get upset, you like automatically defensive to the point of, no return a lot of times because nobody gonna say nothing about Kobe Bryant. Like you ain't about to say nothing about Kobe Bryant. He is that we gotta be careful not to make,
a pedestal
things, gods in our lives, because then, when they fail, then what?
It's hard because it's like you want, what happened to, that person, like you said, Kobe Bryant, is a horrible thing. You wouldn't want to hear about anybody dying, especially tragically or way before their time. But it's like you have to question yourself because, like you said, it's that fine line of, okay, do I honor this person because of their gift and what they've done or what they have to offer to life? Or am I putting this person on a pedestal higher than they need to be? They're not a god. They're, like you said, a
But
deity. They're
again,
not.
the reason that you're able to put that person on a pedestal is because, I'm speaking from my own personal standpoint. I believe the reason you're able to put the person on the pedestal because they done what you weren't willing to do. That's what I feel like, and within your own lane, they were driven to do what you weren't willing to do, because if you put forth that same hard work and as the person that you have on this pedestal, then it's kind of like you guys are matching each other in that instance. It doesn't have to be that we're making the same money or we're both famous, but I know that I'm thriving in what God purposed for me to do. When you know
Exactly.
that, then you know that this person is no different from me, because they work hard and I work hard just as well as them. And so I think it does speak to a level of your own, productivity. That's just what I think. But
Absolutely.
but if we could just realize, first of all, we respect Kobe Bryant. Most definitely, we respect the hard work of Chadwick Boseman, but we need to also be able to realize that our dreams could come to reality just as well with that same hard work.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like you said,
All capable.
that's the fine line because these guys are inspiration to us. They show us, they are the visual part that show us that it's possible. So
Yeah.
they're a great thing to look at, and they're part of what maybe even God might even use them to inspire to you. But at the same time, it's like, again, it's that fine line of, again, honor and worship. Because just like we had this conversation before, it's like if something bad happened to them, and of course we don't wish no bad on anybody, but the same energy that you put because they're gone, do you put that towards people that's in your life that you can actually see, touch, feel, and smell?
Oh, like, when God says, how can you love me who you never seen and not love your brother?
Exactly.
To paraphrase, or, somebody, your family member or your neighbor, or even if you seen someone that you don't know, a
Exactly.
homeless person on the corner, you still seen this person.
Exactly.
And how could you love him when you don't show that love to others around you?
Absolutely. And
So
it's not to say that
that's kind of fake to me, though, because I don't believe that, I think that you worship God ultimately through how you treat other individuals, in my opinion, because it should be our living, because our light should be carried and exuded, or vibrant for other people to kind of pull from, just by your being, because that's who He made us to be. But when you don't demonstrate that type of light or love to these people, what God called us to be, then I think when we do come to God and call ourselves worshiping Him, it's really, everything is out of whack. Like, everything is not put into the correct perspective. Because remember what He called you to do, to love one another.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it's not to say that you shouldn't do that to a celebrity. Absolutely. I mean, this person has affected your life.
Mm-hmm.
They've been an inspiration to you, but it gotta be equal.
Mm-hmm.
The world may say they're higher than another person,
Mm-hmm.
but does God feel like they're higher than another person? No,
right. And
absolutely not.
I had man, it was a conversation I had with my brother sometime, and he did bring to my attention about, where Jesus said that greater works would we do, when he left, that we would do even greater work. So that even puts things into perspective of how the power is within us. He gives us the power to do. Say you could be my pastor, and I see you functioning in greatness, and oh, God called you to do it, and you're doing an awesome job, and I keep you here, and I can sit on my hands on the bench and do nothing, because He called you to that. No, but He called us
Exactly.
all to that. That's like a cop
Absolutely.
out, almost like, oh,
Yeah.
look at that person. Oh, they're stars, but we're all like, God is no respecter of persons. Like, we all have the capability to do it, but I think it's just a way of not doing it, a way of you not doing it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like, I think we need to understand that there's a difference between the person and the gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. Just like a person, like even a pastor. You mentioned a pastor. We use church. There's a lot of worshiping pastors going on. I think we've seen it physically. We've seen it on social media and stuff like that. But that doesn't take away from the person. What you see when they're in that pulpit is the gift.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the person. The person has flaws just like me and you. They make mistakes just like me and you. But you're judging them based off their gift.
Yeah.
So that's a fine line as well.
I mean, I even think you could be judging them based off of their title. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really a thin line, because some people want you to worship them.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So,
true.
if I'm a little bit immature in my faith, or
Mm-hmm.
if I'm coming into a new career, and it's my boss who, or say I'm a intern, I'm an intern, and I come into this thing, and I'm here, I'm willing to learn, I'm so eager to get to where you are, then here you are, on this, you put yourself on this pedestal. Oh, you can't do it without me, type of attitude, that type of attitude. And so they kind of call themselves to be worship, asking you to do things that you shouldn't even be doing.
That's true. I'm
Well,
glad you brought up.
it's weird to me.
I'm glad you brought up the workplace, because as let's say your boss, they're the leader, so you honor them because they're the person in leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that fine line comes in once again, worship, because I think everybody got that one person or a couple people in their job that at the end of the day it just
Yeah.
listen up all day because they trying to get either more recognition or maybe they trying to get a promotion or something. So I mean, it's a fine line.
But somebody with if it's in the church or if it's in the workplace, someone with a new faith, or as an intern even, they're very impressionable. So
Yeah.
it is up to the leadership to put it into perspective. That although you may honor me, or although I am well equipped, God has equipped me, or I'm well equipped in my skill in the workplace, I still not in a position for you to worship me. It's for you to learn from me, if anything. And so that's where the perspective is that when you see anybody that seems like they've achieved the unachievable and they've done great things, you still take, you should be able to be taking and learning from it, not just putting them there and leaving them there. No, we strive towards greatness as they are. But it's a perspective that we see ourselves, that we are able to worship other people. Because if I see myself as small, of course I'm going to make you big.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So, but that's why we got to realize who we are and who he created us to be and everything that he put in us, so that when so-and-so comes by, Michael Jordan comes by, yeah, I honor him. I really do. But I know that I'm capable of being successful in my own right just as well. Yeah. So it's all about our vision and how we see ourselves, you know. But back to the material things, I think that's also another thing about how we see ourselves, that we recognize that material things don't make us.
But if you really think about it, it goes back to the previous topic. Do you like you? Because if you don't like you, of course you're going to be impressionable and you're going to be easy to look at somebody higher than you because you don't even value you.
Topic. It extends it to more so, firstly, do you know you?
Exactly.
When you don't know who you are, then of course, like I said, that you have that clouded vision of the world itself, because you don't know who you are, and so you don't even know your place. So everything's out of place. So of course you can put a person before God, or you could put a material thing before God, or a house, your dream house, and all of that before God. You may obtain these things, but ultimately everything's out of whack. And so one thing we don't do is put anything before God.
Absolutely.
He's the one who made a way for you to get it, and he's gonna be the one to make sure that you can sustain it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's the perspective of how we see ourselves, and when you get to know who you are, then I think everything else will fall into place, and these people, these things will not be like gods to us. Like you referenced the definition of a deity. That won't be even possible.
Like me and a lot of people that know me personally, they know I drive for a living. I drive trucks now, but at one time I drove tour buses, so I had a lot of opportunities to meet famous people or celebrities. And again, it goes back to that: do you like you, or do I feel any less? Because these are these great people that people idolize in real life, but I didn't feel any lesser being around them.
But do you think that they knew who, or they had a false perspective of who they were? Like, I'm here and you're down, or they treated you less than anyway?
I ain't gonna say no names, but there was a few that I met that you could tell that they was feeling themselves. But for the most part, most of the people that I did meet, they was cool people. And from what my perspective, even with in the church, because I've been blessed that every church that I've been to or visited it, most of the pastors was cool. They wasn't feeling themselves or nothing like that. They was very humble. Now, how the other people treated them, that's a different story. They put them on the pedestal. They didn't put themselves on the pedestal. Somebody else did. And from what most of my encounters with celebrities that I did meet, they was on that same note. They was cool. They was cordial. They'll say hello. But again, like I said, there's a few that I have met that, yeah, they head was in the sky.
And I
Much.
like that you mentioned about, they put them on a pedestal. It's, again, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but she would always tell me, or she's mentioned to me about, people coming to her and saying, you think you all that, you think you this and that. And she's like, no, you think that about me. I don't think that, But again, that's you thinking of yourself as being small and putting that person up to feel that, or to in your own mind. It's not their mind that's thinking that, it's you thinking that. never
Exactly.
realizing that all the hard work that they put in. And when the person talks about how hard they work to do the stuff that they do, it's like, yeah, of course. Again, we ready to fall by the wayside because we don't want to do that work, and we
Exactly.
look at you and say, "You think you all that?" Instead of, it. I think that excellency in any form should call us to the same level. Like, if I see you doing that, like you said, it should be an inspiration for me to
Exactly.
come up and do that too.
Hmm.
It's almost like you reaching back or you pulling me up, and then if somebody sees me, then I can pull on them too instead of let them. Um, but I don't think that's necessarily our responsibility. For me to reach and pull the person up. I
Hmm.
think that you should be willing to lend to the person for sure anything they need, but that person has to have the desire to come up. You can't just drag them up. They have to have the desire to get to whatever level it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best sign of a leader is someone who can lead by example.
Yeah.
So you lead them by the lifestyle you live. Like, even with being a Christian, I don't need to be a preacher, and not to knock at preachers and ministers and stuff, because there's a spot for that. But it's like, I can lead people to Christ by my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It should be something that shows through my regular living. I don't have to get up here and quote all these scriptures to you all day. And your lifestyle should be what shows that you got Christ in your heart. And the same
Right.
thing with the celebrity. They lifestyle show it. Just like Kobe Bryant, his lifestyle showed it.
Yeah.
He was a great basketball player. Like, he was ruthless with his determination to be great. So that's what inspires you. Not that the person is so great, or not that the person is better than you, or that you should put them higher, but their lifestyle on
They're
what
living.
they're
Yeah.
living is what got you.
Yeah. Like Jesus, it's his
Exactly.
living. It's his living that should be showing you. And then we model after him. It's just not his being, because he
Exactly.
could have just been, but it's even better when you have somebody walking before you and kind of giving you the blueprint. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Instead
Hmm.
of, and it's funny because celebrities and people, successful people actually are willing to give that.
Exactly.
I hear them talking and giving speeches and stuff all the time about how to, but that doesn't make them perfect because they're human too.
That also lines up with being a parent, because, and I'm not trying to act like I'm a perfect parent. I try to be a good dad, but I feel like, just like I said, with being a Christian, you lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how, you always see people say they are pointing at their kid and say, oh, you must do this, you must do that, you must do this, you must do that. And it's like you're a drill sergeant trying to tell them what to do. But the question is, are you modeling these same qualities that you're trying to teach your kid in your own life? Do they see, if you want to talk to your kid and want them to respect you as authority, the question is, do you respect authority? Do they get to see you in leadership and somebody give you an order and you show respect and follow your leadership?
That's a great question.
I mean, you got to lead by example. How? Because your kid is sitting there like, okay, mommy and daddy told me I gotta listen, but they don't listen. It's like,
Kind of like wanting to be quiet on that note because it's like, man, this is touchy because now we're kind of transitioning a little bit right here.
yeah, we
Think
are, we
about,
are.
we
You know
about
how
to
it
touch
goes.
on this. Think about the police.
Mm-hmm.
You just saying, I'm black, you're black, I'm a mother, you're a father, and so we teach our children we should be training up the child and whether they should go right when they're older they won't depart from it. Again,
Yeah.
it's them being able to see you're living them because I can teach my child all day to be respectful, and when they're in my presence, guess what? Totally respectful. But if I'm a disrespectful individual altogether, you know, then I have to wonder, which role is my child going to take if they're confronted with this serious situation? And
Absolutely.
not to say that none of all these situations, I feel like a lot of it is unwarranted, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to interactions with the police and black men and black children and whatever else. I know that a lot of it is totally unwarranted, but another security that I would have is that I was able to exemplify, you know, showing respect to others, because again, honor is respect. and
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the main thing. It's not that I'm gonna go off when whatever.
Mhm.
That's what honor is too. And you kind of
Exactly.
taught me
Yeah.
this. You kind of taught me this, that honor, you know, it isn't always earned. You
It's
know,
not.
it's
You
not.
know, I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna steal this from somebody else, and I'll give him a credit. Bianca know my guy is Ron Carpenter. That's my guy.
Mhm.
And you know what he said? It was like a drop the mic moment. He said, God wants you to honor people, but just because you honor them doesn't mean that they're honorable.
Mhm.
So it's like you don't have to wait till you feel that they deserve honor. It's the point that God says to honor them.
Honor
Period.
people, period.
Period.
You honor them, and again, treating them how you want to be treated. It didn't say treat them how they deserve to be treated, or that's not how it works. It's like
Exactly.
you still show people honor. Why would you do that though?
Again, it keeps going back to what the definition is: respect highly.
Why?
Like
Why if they don't deserve it?
it's yet, it don't say that though. It don't say
No,
if
I'm
they
asking
deserve
you,
it.
if they don't deserve it, why would I show them any honor? This is a real question.
Because you know why you do that? You
Why?
show them honor even though if they deserve it, because just like the Bible say, you treat people how you would want to be treated. So there's gonna be areas of your life that don't deserve to get
Oh, okay. So like kind of like how God is still giving and giving of us even though we're not deserving.
exactly.
But if I take the role of or take the mentality or mindset on that says, I'm not showing you any respect because you ain't earned it and you're not gonna get it from me, then is that the same way that God could ultimately treat us?
He
Because
could.
also, the Bible talks about forgiveness, right? That's
Uh-huh.
one thing where it says forgive others like you as you've been forgiven, or so that you can be forgiven, right? So
Uh-huh.
if that's a principle there, then this is another principle, in my opinion, that you honor them regardless if you feel like they deserve it or not. And just to be honest, it may get you out of a situation. It seems like this person is being totally rude and totally disrespectful, and they don't deserve it. But I think when I match what you're giving me, if I match that, then we both two wrongs are not going to make it right.
Absolutely. And plus, to narrow down what you just said, how can you sit here and pray all day and ask for forgiveness and talk to God and say that I want all this mercy and grace, but you ain't able to give that same mercy and grace to somebody else?
hmm and also, like, we talked about, this is not to be super preachy, or this is not even that type of conversation, but it all goes back to God. That's what this life is. It's like you live and learn these situations where you can obtain wisdom, and because God is who created us. It's not about pounding that into anybody's head or anything. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I believe everybody, y'all already know who created us, and that these are principles that you can use in the world, or also godly principles as well. So it's not to be like so extra on that, but you can't talk about it without talking about him. Just to be honest.
Like the way I look at the Bible and I look at the way with God, I don't like people try to make, like, especially with religion, they try to make it like God is up in heaven, just like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have fun, blah 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 blah. But I don't look at it like that. I just feel like God loves us that much that He's willing to give us a blueprint to say, all right, why don't you avoid this situation, or why don't you do it this way? Because if you don't, it can lead you down a road that you don't want to go down, or it can open up a door for something that could harm you later. It's not you can't do this because I don't want you to live, or I don't want you to do this because I don't want you to have fun. It's just he's just trying to protect you because he's a parent. That's what parents do. Just like
And
if my
he's the ultimate parent, because I don't recall him ever saying you can't do anything. He gives you a
absolutely.
choice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we in our own households we say you can't. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a choice. And then when you get out from under my roof, you're gonna spiral out of control, or what's gonna happen because I pounded this and made you can't do this, you can't do that. So God, He allows us a choice, and He allows us to be able to grasp that, okay, that wasn't a good idea. And you know,
Exactly.
God kind of told me, and I still didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I think that sums it up pretty good. It's like
Yeah.
it, you can't do the worship without the honor. It's a part of it. Just like in the definition of worship, it has honor right there. So you need both, but you just have to understand that fine line of understanding the importance of a thing, and to recognize the importance and respect highly of the thing, but you don't want to make sure that it doesn't become a god in your life, or like you said, a deity,
Mm-hmm.
where you putting it higher than it needs to be.
Yeah, and also just to that puts it into perspective, but just to be reminded that, you know, God gave us all power to do and to achieve and to become. He gave us that power. He gave it to us. You know, if a tree can grow out of the ground and become 60 feet tall without thinking or without a brain,
That's true.
how much growth do you think that we can have as individuals, that, you know, we're the most intelligent creature on this planet, because He
Exactly.
gave us rule over. I grow the tree.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So actually, we don't have to let a tree succeed over us. You know, let's,
Pretty much.
so we have the capabilities to do these things too. And so yes, we respect everyone who's working hard and disciplined enough to achieve great things, you know, and but we put it in its place, that it could be inspiration instead of becoming worship. You worship that person, and then you're never inclined to do your own work,
Absolutely.
because He called us all to do a work for Him. And actually, you know, that's what our living is. We all got purposes out here. It could be something that you feel like is small, but it's not small. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
all of us
Yeah.
are great in His eyes. Yeah.
That's true. Well, everybody, we appreciate you watching this video. We thank you for tuning in. And just like I said in the last video, if you this far, that means you watched the whole thing, and we
Yeah,
appreciate
we
it, because
appreciate that.
yeah, could have been doing anything else but you watching us. And
Yeah.
like we said, we hope that you share, that you like, and you subscribe if you like what you see,
Yeah.
and
Comment
comment.
and let us know what you think about it, or, you know, if we missed something, most definitely just note that in the comments, and we look forward to hearing from you. And thank everybody for who viewed the last
We
video.
appreciate y'all.